WYSL.
Welcome to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. Each month, we'll feature business and community leaders sharing their stories, initiatives, concerns, and passions. Learn practical information regarding community resources and opportunities. Now, the host of Business Voice, Greece Regional Chamber President and CEO, Sarah Lentini.
Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore. We have a fantastic show for you today, starting with my first guests from M&T Bank. I have Melissa Jordan and Terry Kelley, both vice presidents, slightly different roles. And let's start right there. I'm sure folks will want to hear about M&T Bank, but first we want to hear a little bit about you. Melissa, tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Well, I'm the commercial branch manager at the Latta Long Pond branch for M&T Bank. I've been there 15 years working. Yes, 15 years working in the Greece community.
Wonderful. And you're very active in the Greece community. I know this because you're pretty active with the Greece Regional Chamber, but I know that you're involved with lots of other things. Tell us a little bit about what you're active with.
Yes, so I'm in the chamber as an ambassador, welcoming new members into the chamber, but also the Greece Rotary, where I work with a lot of the youth services and the vocation services. Also on many different committees for the Advisory Council and community partnerships for the Greece Central School District.
Yep. I was thinking if you didn't bring up the Central School District, I was going to, because I know you're pretty active with the local school system, which is wonderful. And is that, obviously that's something you're personally passionate about, but I'm guessing that's encouraged by the bank as well? It
is. The bank really encourages all the employees to get involved in their communities, because when our communities succeed, so does the bank and everybody.
Yeah, and it means that you know that many more people. You know, I think a little bit about the priorities of the community. It's a great way to really have an understanding of the fabric of what's going on, I'm guessing. So what did you do before, or was there a before M&T Bank? Did you have a career before that? Was it really you came out of high school, college, and you launched right into M&T? Did you always know you wanted to be in banking?
No. So prior to M&T, I actually moved from Maryland back to Rochester. I worked for another organization, Ceridian, for 13 years.
Ceridian?
Ceridian, yeah. It was a payroll and human resources integrated company.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, are you from Maryland?
No, from Rochester originally.
All right.
And then we moved to Maryland for my job, and then moved back and found a home with M&T.
Wonderful. Yeah. And are you're a West Sider originally?
Yes. Went to high school in Spencerport and college at Brockport. So
it's an area you know well, a community that's near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely.
Very
I'm a
nice.
West Sider and enjoy giving back to the community. Have done a lot of different things within Spencerport or Gates Tri-Li on library boards and really, for the most part, in Greece for 15 years.
And a couple of years ago, I think you were our Business Person of the Year. My memory is that the Greece Regional Chamber selected you as Business Person of the Year for our annual community awards. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's I know it may seem like ancient history. If you're anything like me, time is ripping along here, but actually wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
and
it was an honor.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And then also here representing M&T Bank is Terry Kelley. Terry, another vice president with M&T, but tell us a little bit more about you first.
So I work in business and professional banking downtown at our corporate office.
Very nice. And
actually, my role is to support the two Greece branches, the one that Melissa manages on Latta Long Pond, and then the Ridge Road office. So most of my time is spent on the west side of the city, although we have customers all around Rochester.
Wonderful. And how long have you been working for M&T? How long have you been in banking?
So this is my 8th year with M&T Bank. I've been in this current role for just over a year, and I was a commercial branch manager as well out in the Perrington Fairport market. But this is my 24th year in banking.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
had no idea.
Yeah.
The things you learn about people, it doesn't even seem possible looking at you. Of course, our listeners they don't have the benefit of being able to see your face, but, I would never have guessed. 24 years. Congratulations.
Yeah, I actually stumbled on it when I grew up down in Dansville and worked at a full-service gas station as a kid, and the local branch manager had approached me to take a job during the summer. Mm-hmm. My goal was I was going to school for mortuary science.
Oh, goodness.
So, and things completely changed. So I had a banker that actually ended up being here at M&T as well, but years ago it was Fleet Bank is where I started, and she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You got a career in banking." So.
How nice.
Yeah.
What a nice thing.
Yeah. So
How she saw something in you.
she did. Yeah, and it's been a wonderful career. And subsequently my oldest son just graduated as well from Brockport, and he's going in the same line of work, so.
Oh, how very nice. Yeah, I would really never have guessed. You also have a son who's graduating from college.
I do.
Okay, I guess we have to adjust. I had a completely different idea about your age, obviously. In fact, that's becoming evidently clear. People just look great at older and older ages, don't they, Melissa? Just like you and
I
me.
agree.
Yeah, exactly. So bottom line is M&T Bank is, doing a wonderful job of supporting the community and supporting the Greece Regional Chamber. I want to say thank you, first of all, because you guys are the presenting sponsors for our upcoming annual community awards. It's actually our 34th annual community awards. That's a long time, even longer than Terry's been in banking, which is amazing. And it's coming up on April 25th. That's a Thursday, and it's an evening gala. And it's great fun. We give awards in so many areas. And today's show, we're going to just try to highlight a few of them, in addition to saying thank you to M&T Bank and both of you, and making sure that people are aware of the event, and also how it's important that corporations, corporate businesses, and entities such as M&T Bank step up to the plate and help us make these sorts of things happen. So we're really grateful. I'll talk a little bit later about all of the different awards that we're giving, but tell us a little bit about M&T. What, first of all, what's the history of the bank? If you've got a little bit of a
well, the bank
overview.
is we're headquartered out of Buffalo, although we have a very large presence now in Baltimore as well.
Oh.
We have, I think, just around 800 branches.
Well, that's
and
a lot.
Approximately
Yeah.
17,000 employees. So
Wow.
I believe we've had at least 22 or 23 successful acquisitions or mergers over the last 160 years.
Oh, it's that old, 160 years old.
That's correct. Yep.
Wow.
And what's interesting and what drew me to the organization is that although it seems as though we're a big company, we operate as a community-minded organization locally with having the ability to have lending decisions and local board presence and really being able to have an input as far as our customers and the relationships that we've established with them. So,
So you said two things. One is local board presence. Do you have a board?
We
I don't
have-
even know how you're structured. My complete ignorance about banks, but I'm going to guess a couple other people might also not know this. So.
Although we're headquartered in Buffalo, we're organized around 17 community bank regions, and we're led by local regional presidents, which means decisions that we make are made locally to
cool.
help support the people in the bank in the community that we serve.
And so who is the local bank president?
That would be Dan Burns.
Dan Burns. I thought it might be, but just in case I said the wrong name, I thought I'd have you say it instead.
Yeah.
And he's certainly been in his role for some time. He's got a good,
Yes,
strong local
yes.
presence. So wonderful. So he's an example of this local board, local leadership that you're talking about within what is a much larger entity. And then Baltimore, you have a strong presence in Baltimore. What's driving that? Do you happen to know? Is it just sort of the way things emerged and evolved, or?
Well, we're actually in New York City, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Connecticut, Virginia.
most recently even Florida. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So most of it, the growth has been through acquisitions.
And certainly it looks as though a lot of the contiguous, I can see how the growth is happening in a fairly logical way. And then Florida, who doesn't want to be in Florida?
That's right.
Well, maybe not the summer months, but, going back to the winter months.
I think 3-4 years ago, we had the Wilmington Trust acquisition too down in Delaware, which has really helped us with the trust and investments for the bank. So.
Right, which is so important. I mean, that's a whole important arena of the bank. So, fantastic. Now, can you tell me a little bit? You guys have, you've stepped up, and we're so grateful to you for being the presenting sponsors of the 34th Annual Community Awards. Is there, a reason that you guys play such an important role in supporting community ventures like this? Does it fit with the philosophy, a vision of the bank? I think you started to touch on this a little earlier, but are there other ways in which you support the community other than the specific community involvement that you have that maybe our listeners would be interested in? Because you do a lot of community giving, right?
Well, the bank, they do empower us to get involved and to volunteer. I myself am in the Rochester Downtown Club and chair a couple of the committees for them. We sit on different boards for not-for-profits around Rochester and helping them as far as their initiatives. And it's important for us to be involved and out there volunteering and making a difference in the community.
I think it's really just a part of our culture, that community involvement. The M&T employees are, like Terry said, encouraged to work in their communities of where they live and work in the hope that we can make our communities better, either through our personal situations or through our business works.
Now, talk to me a little bit about your individual roles. I think you might have thrown out a title there, Terry. But for starters, Melissa, your role is specific to the Ladder Road branch?
Yes, I'm the commercial branch manager, so I manage that branch, that staff, and then also work with the business customers out of my branch to help them with all their financial needs that they may have. And Terry and I actually work in partnership.
Yeah, so my role is to support the two offices, primarily as far as the lending aspects go for the business owners out there. But we also have additional products and services to make our customers ways of doing business easier. So we meet with them periodically throughout the year and just help identify ways that we can help them grow. We truly want to be viewed to our business owners as a partner. So, being able to react to certain situations when things arise for them and having, a couple point of contacts so that if one of us happen to be out of the office, the other one is fully aware of the relationship.
Wonderful.
We're truly a team.
I know you're a team. I see you everywhere together, which is wonderful. And you guys have been, very actively involved in all sorts of events at the Chamber. And, of course, Melissa, thank you also for being a Chamber ambassador. Not only Chamber members and sponsors, but also, actively involved in volunteering for us, which we really appreciate. So there are 2 branches in Greece?
There is.
Okay.
There's the Ladalong Pond branch, and then there's the Greece branch, which is right behind the mall. On Ridge Road in Long Pond.
Okay. And I don't know if, is there a quick web address if people wanted to kind of check out the bank?
It's mtb.com.
MTB?
Yep.
mtb.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And that will take you right to our website. And Anis Osmic is the branch manager at the Greece branch.
Wonderful.
He couldn't be here with us today, but we wanted to make sure we give a shout-out to Anis.
A little shout-out. I like it. Perfect for radio, right? A shout-out.
That's right.
That's what I'm thinking. So I just want to say thank you once again. And maybe one of the things that we can do as we're wrapping up is just to kind of walk through some of the wonderful highlights that have to do with the upcoming 34th Annual Community Awards.
Okay.
I have a good memory, but not that good. So I just wanted to kind of walk through for folks who we're going to be recognizing, and maybe you guys want to do this as well. We've got a whole long lineup of fantastic award recipients, starting with Business Person of the Year, which is actually jointly this year being awarded to two very, very nice people, in addition to being very good businessmen, Michael and David Parado of Bartolomeo and Parado Funeral Home. Right, Melissa?
Yes, and then we have the First Responder of the Year, Chief Stephen Mills from the Ridge Road Fire District.
And the Girly Goodwin Citizen of the Year is Celia McIntosh, Rochester Regional Coalition Against Human Trafficking.
Yep, a very important effort. She's done some really wonderful work. And then we've got the William E. Selke Senior Citizen of the Year, John Foy. We're going to be hearing from him in just a moment. And then following that from Chief Stephen Mills, whom we just mentioned. And then we've got the
Young Professional of the Year, which is Heather Henderson.
Yeah, and Heather's actually also a Greece Regional Chamber Ambassador, and she's the president of the Kiwanis Club, also in Greece.
The Arts and Culture Awards, they're going to the Greece Historical Society and the Greece Performing Arts Society this year.
Yep, wonderful. It's a great joint award, and believe it or not, both of those two big organizations, right, history and, right? They're
Perfect
both
fit.
Celebrating 50 years this year. Who knew
Wow.
that they started at the same time? That must have been some year 50 years ago, right? and then we've got something that we do every year is to recognize buildings, both new construction and renovation. We've got 2 great projects.
Right, for new construction, we have Greece OBGYN LLP, and for development and transitional of existing space, we have TC Hooligans.
Yep, cool space.
And then the History Award this year is going to go to Maureen Whalen.
Yep, she's a wonderful volunteer. People were very excited that we're recognizing her efforts. And then we also have coming up the
Thomas E. Schomer Spirit of the Chamber Award, which is going to go to Thomas and Sharon Fain.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm particularly delighted that this year, for the first time, we're doing a special award, and that is giving an Economic Engine Award to Eastman Business Park, which is, you know, you drive by it every day. I know I do, and it looks like it's, you know, the same. But guess what? There are 120 new businesses. It's up from the last time I said this number. It was 110. I actually had the Tim Palmer, who was the head of development for Eastman Business Park, on the show a couple of shows ago. And at that time, it was 110 businesses that they brought into the park. And now it's at 120, he tells me. And for that reason, we are giving them the first ever Economic Engine Awards. So it's a wonderful lineup. Doug Embledge is going to be our MC, as he has been every year for the past 33 years. This is going to be the 34th. He does a great job. Wonderful dinner, dual entree, wine with dinner. The Marriott does a great job. Wonderful sponsors. But, of course, you guys are chief among them. So I just want to say thank you again very, very much to M&T Bank, presenting sponsor of the 34th Annual Community Awards. Special thanks to you, Melissa Jordan, and to you, Terry Kelley. We so appreciate all of your support and very much appreciate your being here today on Business Voice.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Sarah.
You're very welcome. All right, stick around. We're going to be right back with one of our honorees, John Foy, who is getting the William E. Selke Senior Citizen of the Year Award.
Tell advertisers you heard about them on WYSL. AM 1040 and 92.1 FM and 95.5 West.
Attention neighbors. I have something big to announce.
Hey, hon, is that Tim on the roof with a megaphone?
M&T Bank's Easy Choice Checking is now free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement.
Bill, did you hear that?
Oh.
And while I'm up here, Bill, just a reminder, you still owe me that $12 from the 2015 block party, all right?
Bill!
Thanks, man.
Big news. Easy Choice Checking from M&T Bank is now even better than before. It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you, well, free from worry.
Now, does anyone have a ladder?
So if you're looking for an easy-to-manage account that can help you save on fees, look no further than Easy Choice Checking from M&T. Stop by any M&T Bank branch today or visit mtb.com/easychoice. M&T Bank, understanding what's important. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
Get all the advantages when you shop at Pet Saver.
Like our do-it-yourself pet wash for just $9.99 every day. We supply all the shampoo, towels, tubs, and water, and we clean up after you too.
The Pet Saver friendly staff helps you protect your pet from fleas and ticks with simple, safe, economical, and vet-recommended protection.
We are here 7 days a week in person to help you find only the best pet food, treats, toys, and more.
Can't get that online.
Remember, every time you shop at Pet Saver, you are helping to feed our local shelter pets.
Do your community and your pet a big favor.
Shop at Pet Saver!
The Love Your Pet More store.
Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore.
In Greece, Monroe Ave in Brighton, Webster, and in Victor next to Party City across from Eastview Mall.
AVO Resource Solutions LLC offers non-medical private personal care for seniors, adults, and children with varying levels of functioning ability and needs, including in-home personal care, household chores, transportation, and companion service at any time of day. The hands-on care provided by AVO's teams of professional, certified, reliable, trustworthy, and well-trained in-home aides allows family members to experience a better quality of life and to live independently in the comfort of their own homes. Call AVO Resource Solutions LLC at 585-851-8114 or visit AVOResourceSolutionsLLC.com.
Join the Greece Regional Chamber and presenting sponsor M&T Bank for the 34th Annual Community Awards Gala on Thursday, April 25th from 6 to 9:30 p.m. at the Rochester Airport Marriott Hotel in Greece. Help us celebrate the remarkable people that make our community great. For tickets and information, visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272.
More than 20,000 watts of truth. WYSL AM 1040, FM 92.1 and 95.5 West.
Welcome back. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore. I'm Sarah Lentini, and I'm delighted to welcome my next guest. He is just one of the wonderful honorees that we are going to be recognizing at the 34th Annual Community Awards, John Foy, who is going to be receiving the William E. Selke Senior Citizen of the Year Award. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. So you've had, I think the word might be venerable. You know, you have a wonderful history comprised of lots of different parts of a rich and exciting life. Yeah. But I know that one of the parts of your life that people speak about often and spoke about in your nomination was the role that you played in World War II. In fact, I see you're wearing a World War II veteran hat.
Yes, yes. I was very much in World War II. I was a young kid, 18 years old, 17 when I went in.
Oh, my.
Well, I got kind of special permission to go in. I took a lot of tests in high school, and it seems I passed them all pretty well. The Army set up a program called the ASTP, Army Specialized Training Program. It was for guys who maybe had a few more brains than some of the rest of us.
So that's impressive.
To go to college and cover the 4-year college course in engineering in 2 years.
Oh, wow. That's very difficult to do.
I got a letter from the Secretary of Defense saying you have been admitted to any one of the following colleges you wish to go to: Harvard, Yale, Princeton.
Wow.
MIT.
Wow.
And Cornell. Well, out of the four, I chose Cornell, not because I thought it was any better than the others, but it was closer to home. I'd never been away from home before.
Oh.
This was in the middle of the Depression.
Oh, yeah.
And heck, we had a trip to Niagara Falls. It was something you talked about for all summer long.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, Cornell wasn't exactly around the block either, for that matter, right?
It's like 100 miles or so away.
No.
It was closer than the rest.
Now, where did you grow up? Was it in Shalat? In Shalat.
In Shalat, in Greece.
Very nice.
Yeah, my father had a plumbing business.
Very nice. So he was a businessman.
Yeah. And and after I came back from the Army, I went to. I was undecided whether to go back to college or. But I decided I like to work with my hands better than sit at a desk with a bunch of plans or something. So I joined my father and my older brother in the plumbing business.
Wonderful. What was the name of the business?
Just Charles E. Foy Plumbing. That's all.
Charles T. Floyd? I'm saying it poorly. Yeah. Charles E. Foy Plumbing Business.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I worked at that and eventually took the business over. And most of my work was in Greece. I covered most of the
place near and dear to my heart.
It kept me going.
Very nice. Yeah, there's enough population there. There's like 96,000 plus people living in Greece alone.
It worked out very well for me. And I retired in 87, I guess it was.
Right.
And turned the business over to my son-in-law, Scott DeLucine, who runs the business now.
So it's still a viable business?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My dad started it in 1914. So it's been running for over 100 years.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Congratulations. And a family-owned business, all the better.
Yeah,
we love those kinds of businesses.
It's worked out well for
That's
me.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So, but the experiences you had in World War II have been a sort of a lifelong theme for you, haven't they?
Yes. I started in college. They had us there for 4 or 5 months, and we covered the first year of engineering in the Army, and its brilliance decided, let's send these guys. We don't need engineers anymore. We need infantrymen. So they take all these young men with most of them I had guys in my outfit that had IQs of 130 and 140, which is almost in the genius class.
Yes.
And they shoved us right into the frontline infantry.
So I imagine you didn't all make it.
They dropped like flies all around me. I was lucky. My company went in like the Battle of the Bulge. I was in the Battle of the Bulge. And we went in with about 200 men in my company. And we came out with about 45 or 50.
Oh, my gosh.
They weren't all killed. About 80 of them were killed, and the rest wounded and pulled out.
That's got to be traumatic.
It was a terrific cost.
Oh, my goodness.
And,
how did you deal with that? That's got to be
did my best to stay alive and do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
My little machine gun. I was a machine gunner.
Oh.
It's funny. I'm a rather small guy, and usually they pick big guys.
Oh, do they? Because it's a tough thing to manage, right?
It's heavy to handle. But I had been trained on a machine gun, and the guy that was on it got killed. So, hey, boy, you can run this thing, can't you?
So there you were. Suddenly you're the machine gunner.
The rest of the war, I was the machine gunner in our company.
Gosh. Now, tell me a little bit. I feel like I must have been sleeping in history class, but what exactly was the Battle of the Bulge? And when did you... Yeah, I know you're saying World War II.
On December the 16th.
Of which year?
Of 44.
44.
We had pushed the Germans back into Germany, almost all along the line, all the way from the North Sea down. And but they built up this huge force. I don't know how they got away with it, but they did. In secret, they built this. They had 3 armies there on the other side, in Luxembourg and Belgium area. And they attacked on December the 16th and pushed all the way through, and they surrounded the 101st Airborne Division, finally got to Bastogne to try to stop them, and the Germans surrounded them completely. And so I was with Patton's 3rd Army. We were down south near Metz, and they pulled us out and sent us north to rescue the 101st Airborne. Of course, the 101st Airborne, we didn't have to be rescued. We were doing fine. The heck they were. They were in real bad shape. And finally, we did break through. And the day after Christmas, I guess it was, we finally broke through a ring of German steel. Basically, it was around Bastogne to get in to relieve them because they were out of ammunition, they were out of food, out of medicine, out of everything.
Wow.
And their wounded couldn't hardly even be treated. They had no medicine, nothing to treat them with. But we finally broke through, and then kept going and pushed the Germans back into Germany, fought through the Siegfried Line, crossed the Moselle River, got to the Rhine River, and the Germans decided they were really going to make a stand, and they did, right in the Rhine River, and we had a heck of a battle there.
Wow.
We were near a little town called Rennes, which was near the closest city was, can't remember it.
But, yeah, I've certainly heard of Rennes. Yeah, isn't it a sister city? In fact, I think. Yeah,
something like that.
Something
I believe,
like that, right? Yeah.
And we had a terrible battle around the river. The Germans had 20mm anti-aircraft guns down for a direct fire at us crossing the river.
Oh.
So we had quite a time there. And then we finally got across the river. And the German army was starting to break up then. This was about the 1st of April, I guess.
Still 44?
No, it was 45
now it's
then.
45.
45, And we're starting to see some of the real horrors of the war then. We were going down the road. We captured 25, 50 German SS troopers. Now, quite frankly, we didn't very often take SS troopers prisoners.
Oh.
But there were too many of them there, so there's about maybe 50 of them, I guess. But we didn't know where they were from. They wouldn't tell us. And we're advancing down this road, and all of a sudden, we're getting a horrible smell. What the heck is that?
Oh, boy.
Well, what it turned out to be was Buchenwald concentration camp.
Oh, my goodness.
And that place was just beyond belief. Well, you've all seen pictures of the guys in their striped pajamas, like clothes that they wore. And they're all just skin and bones. There's thousands of them in there. There are all kinds of people, mostly Jews from Germany and from all over Europe, really. But there are also a few Catholic priests and nuns and a lot of Russian prisoners. And these people hadn't had anything to eat for practically nothing. They give them a cup of warm water in the morning with a little piece of potato floating in it, and that was their meal for the day. But you just couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe it. We'd never seen or hear anything about anything like that.
And
so
it is inconceivable.
Yeah.
Right? It's inconceivable.
So your first instinct is to give these people something to eat. Well, the average infantryman always carried something with him, maybe a candy bar, or a can of soup in his pocket, or a can of beans, or whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever we had, we started to give it to them. And our medics come around and screaming, "Don't feed them, don't feed them." The trouble is, they hadn't had anything to eat.
It's tough to eat if you haven't
eaten. For an awful
eaten.
long time, and their stomach was shrunk down to almost nothing.
Oh,
and if they ate, normally the inclination would be to stuff themselves with everything they get.
Right.
And actually, one or two of them died from that.
Oh.
We gave them food.
Oh.
So they had to start them out on a little broth and stuff like that, and gradually work them better, which they did eventually. But anyway, we were there, and we had these prisoners with us, and we didn't know what to do with them. We found out they were the guards from the camp that were running away.
Oh.
So, see, we didn't know what to do with them, so we let them go. We let them go right in the middle of the camp. The prisoners knew what to do with them.
So I think the part that I really have understood is that you freed the people who were enslaved and being tortured at Buchenwald, which is unbelievable. Thank you so much. I mean, to say thank you for your service.
It was horrible. We couldn't stay there. I was only there for maybe a couple hours. We moved on. Our job was in Buchenwald. We were supposed to take a town a little ways down the street. But they made people, there's a town called Weimar, which was maybe 2 miles away from the camp. And we went into town and ordered every single person from babyhood on up to senior citizens. We were almost dragging them out of their beds. Made them come back to the camp to see what they had done.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, we didn't know anything about this.
Good for you.
We didn't know anything. Heck, they didn't.
Oh, yeah, they didn't. I agree.
And we made them clean the barracks and bury the piles of bodies. Oh, the Germans were very efficient. They had the bodies stacked up, 4 or 5 this way, 4 or 5 that way, and so on, so they could stack them higher. And there's 2 big crematoriums that were going full blast. They were still going when we broke the gate down. They were just burning the bodies inside the... It was horrible. There was guys that would seen the worst that the world could offer were standing there crying like babies. It just tore your heart out. And even General Eisenhower came up a day or so later. I understand, I wasn't there then. But he wanted every American soldier that could be possibly freed to come and see that. And of course, by that time, they were breaking into other camps too, Dachau and things like that.
There
Other
were
camps, Auschwitz.
Yeah. So you were... At this point, all of the camps were getting liberated, started to happen simultaneously because of your efforts.
Within a couple of weeks' time, they're all getting...
Well, I can't begin to thank you enough for what you and all of the others who served with you have done, because you not only did you serve this country, but you served the world.
Yeah. I've been very lucky. I belong to an outfit called the Greatest Generation Foundation, which is basically a bunch of millionaires in the Midwest. And their hobby is sending old GIs back to Europe and the Pacific. And so I've been over to Normandy 3 or 4 times, and to a lot of England, all over France, back to Bastogne, traveled all over Europe. So they send me to I give a lot of talks.
That's what I hear.
And they send me to give talks on it. They sent me out a couple months ago out to California, to L.A. to give a talk to some convention there.
And you were telling me earlier, right, before we started, that you also were giving talks on is it the Queen Mary?
Yeah, the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
And I gave a talk down in Washington, D.C. to about 450 FBI headquarters. To
my goodness.
About 450 agents at the headquarters there. And we stayed at of all things, the Trump Hotel right across the street from the headquarters. Boy, what a fabulous place that was.
I have to say that not only am I'm moved by the fact that you had the courage to do what you did. I realized that you and others were with you. I'm also moved by the fact that you felt such a keen sense of injustice, because sometimes you're doing what you're supposed to do because you're being ordered, but it's clear that you and the others who served with you were very, very upset, and rightfully so, and that you were so incensed and had such a sense of outrage that you were trying to find ways to make things, if not right, at least apparent. And I guess I have to say I'm particularly grateful to you for being able to talk about it, because it's probably at some great personal sacrifice that you're able to share this with us, and yet it is so important. You know, I don't think there are too many people who can bring a first-hand account of what is a horrible, horrible time in our history as a world, as a humanity doesn't seem like the right word, and yet it's important for us to hear this, so that we remember that things can go very, very far afoul. I
helped to run the Battle of the Bulge group down in Greece, and I started out with about 125 men. I'm down to 3 now.
Oh, wow.
They're all gone. I'm the baby of their group, and I'm almost 94.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think that the term, I've heard in my lifetime the term war hero thrown about, but I think that you are someone, and not just because of the actual service during the war, but also because of your service post-war. You are someone who truly deserves the title of war hero, and I'm so honored that the Chamber is able to recognize you. We're so lucky to be able to recognize you as the William E. Selke Senior Citizen of the Year, and quite frankly, I'm just honored sitting next to you, and thank you so much for sharing your story and coming and talking to us here on Business Voice. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, stick around. We're going to be right back in a few minutes with our last guest for this show, another honoree, Chief Stephen Mills.
You're listening to the voice of liberty.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, FM 95.5 Spencerport, and WYSL1040.com everywhere.
Of course, you love your pet. That's why it's hard to believe that you're feeding them the wrong food. Yeah, 70% of dogs and cats are eating the wrong pet food. It could be because they're getting older, a little overweight, or have allergies. Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore can help. Bring in your food or take a picture of the label, and a trained staff member will let you know what is really in the food. They know how to accurately read the labels and give you the truth about what you're feeding or not feeding your pet. If you need a change, they can recommend a food that really is healthier for your pet. And because Pet Saver carries more premium food than any other store in town, including the national chains, you might even be able to pay less for a food that is better for your pet. Are you one of the 70% of pet owners that are feeding your dog or cat the wrong food? Find out for free at the Pet Saver nearest you.
In Greece, Monroe Ave in Brighton, Webster, and in Victor next to Party City across from Eastview Mall.
Attention, attention neighbors. I have something big to announce.
Hey, hon, is that Tim on the roof with a megaphone?
M&T Bank's Easy Choice Checking is now free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement.
Bill, did you hear that?
Oh. And while I'm up here, Bill, just a reminder, you still owe me that $12 from the 2015 block party, all right?
Bill!
Thanks, man.
Big news. Easy Choice Checking from M&T Bank is now even better than before. It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you, well, free from worry.
Now, does anyone have a ladder?
So if you're looking for an easy-to-manage account that can help you save on fees, look no further than Easy Choice Checking from M&T. Stop by any M&T Bank branch today or visit mtb.com/easychoice. M&T Bank, understanding what's important. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
Join the Greece Regional Chamber and presenting sponsor M&T Bank for the 34th Annual Community Awards Gala on Thursday, April 25th from 6 to 9:30 p.m. at the Rochester Airport Marriott Hotel in Greece. Help us celebrate the remarkable people that make our community great. For tickets and information, visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272.
Alexa, play WYSL. And hear the WYSL stations worldwide. WYSL1040.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Business Voice, a program of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore. I'm Sarah Lentini, and I'm delighted to be here with our last guest of today's show, but certainly not the least, a wonderful member of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce and also an honoree at our upcoming 34th Annual Community Awards. It's my great pleasure to welcome Chief Stephen Mills of the Ridge Road Fire District. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, the Chief, you're being recognized as the First Responder of the Year. Very apt recognition. And I want to tell you that the nomination came from virtually everybody that works with you. They're so delighted to be working with you. They're so impressed with you. They are obviously your champions, but I think it's with very good reason, because part of what they cited in the nomination was that you've done all sorts of heroic and selfless things, and not just in the line of duty, often when you're off duty as well. You may not know that because you didn't even know they had nominated you, correct?
No, I hadn't seen it. That was very generous of them.
Yeah, well, I think they think you're pretty generous as well. So you were starting to tell us, though, before we even came on air, that you've lived in the area and also outside of the area at various points in your life. Where did you grow up? Was it here in the Rochester region?
I graduated from Brockport High School in '86, and my dad was in retail, so we moved around a lot. So I was in Maine, Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire. We ended up settling in Brockport, and I graduated from there.
Wonderful. You know, I don't know if I ever shared this with you. Probably not, because I don't think you and I have known each other all that long. But I also, moved around a lot as a child, and it's not really great fun always being the new kid in school. You're always sort of the it's like being the last person to the party, the last person joining the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. You end up being a little reserved, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, I don't know if you've come to the same conclusion that I have, but as much as I didn't enjoy it then, I actually think it built up some kind of unique, maybe survival skills in me. As well as a very keen appreciation for what it's like to be the outsider. And I think it's created some empathy in me as a result that might not have been there otherwise. I don't know if that's something that resonates at all with you.
Yeah, it definitely, you get interpret people. I think you learn to read people.
Yep. You have to.
Yeah, right.
You have to.
Yeah.
It gives you. It's a survival skill. It gives you. I think some people have other kinds of skills and senses that maybe get heightened, and I think that's one of them. So when you came out of Brockport, you said Brockport High School. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you have a career path in mind? And is this? I feel kind of dumb, but I mean, have you been doing this fire? Working for fire districts for all your life? I mean, how did you come to be doing this?
I volunteered in Brockport for a number of years, and then went to MCC because get out of high school, and at 17 you're supposed to have your life planned out. And
are you? I didn't.
It doesn't always work that way. I feel bad for the kids today. Feel like they have to have, as we did, all the answers. You have to have your life planned out.
Right.
And so I just went to MCC and took some liberal arts classes. Ended up getting a degree in fire protection.
Oh,
and,
so you did sort of pick it right then.
Yeah, I think when I got into the volunteers, I kind of took an interest in it, and like the family atmosphere that you have. You're looking out for everybody else, and everybody's looking out for you. It's one big group. You're eating dinner together, and
something good,
so,
chili, spaghetti.
Oh yeah, there's guys who can make anything you want.
I bet. I'm getting hungry. I should have eaten before we started. But so you've been therefore in the fire protection business, if you will, or in the fire protection field, really from the beginning. Then. Yeah. Since I was 18. Oh, my gosh. So. Wow. And how long have you been with Ridge Road Fire District?
29 years.
Oh, my goodness. That's just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a couple of years.
Yeah. And how long have you been chief?
Not quite a year. I was made chief May 2018.
Oh, congratulations. We're coming right up on your 1-year anniversary.
Yeah. Yep.
So I imagine it's a little different being the chief than it is not being the chief, right?
Yes, very. Yep. Different sets of priorities.
You get to make decisions, but you also have to take the responsibility, right?
Yep,
yeah.
That comes with it.
Yeah.
And, now you're not looking out necessarily. I was a chief on a shift, and you're looking out for the people that are assigned to the shift, the different companies, firefighters, officers, and you're thinking about that shift and the responding to emergencies that'll happen during that shift. And when you become chief, I'm finding that now you're worried about the 4 shifts, not just your shift, but the 4 shifts, and
your perspective changes.
What jobs they're responding to, and also obviously the community, and making sure that we're addressing their needs, and
it's not just the immediate things at hand.
Yeah,
it's not just responsiveness to an emergency.
Right.
And I know you guys do a ton, but I want you to talk about that. But first of all, Ridge Road Fire District. So how big is that district? What sort of a geography are you covering?
About 16 square miles. There's 4 different departments in the town of Greece. 4 different fire districts. They're political subdivisions, and they tell me it's divided up between. Started with farmers, and depending on where one farmer was, and if he was with one department, that's where they kind of drew the line. So that's apparently where the tax lines fall now.
Okay. Oh, well, look at that.
At least for the town of Greece.
Right. Which is a big geography, just to say. Town of Greece, I mean, in terms of just land, is quite large, in addition to population. Yep. Yep. And so you guys are covering, obviously, Ridge Road with that name right in your... But
we go Manitow Road over to Mount Reed Boulevard.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot of commercial stuff there. Yeah.
Lexington Avenue up to about English Road.
That's a big district.
Yeah, and we have 390, Route 104, a lot of commercial businesses, a lot of industry, manufacturing, a large part of the... Kodak or Eastman Business Park as it is now. That's half of that is in our district. The other half lies in the city. We run with the city a bunch, and our neighbors, other grease departments as well.
Fantastic. So, do you guys? You probably have some sense of how many people and how many businesses are in your district, or is that a challenge?
We we try to keep a good handle on businesses that are coming and going, just so that we can forecast resources that we might need to in response to that business. We have 25,000 residents
that are just in your district
that reside.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't take into account daytime population with employees working at the different businesses. We also have Unity Hospital, which is a large campus, not just a hospital, but they've got outpatient clinics, elder care facilities. So there's a large population.
It's a huge population. That's actually an enormous responsibility. How many folks are part of the district? How many men and women work under you?
We've got 14 firefighters and officers a shift. We have about 62, 65 altogether.
So, okay, but you said 14
on a shift.
And we have on a shift at any given time.
Yep.
Okay, because that was starting to sound very lean.
Yeah,
it still sounds lean, by the way. Just to say,
there are sometimes before we were coming on air, they caught a fire, and you run out of people quickly.
I bet. If it's a big fire, I imagine you're calling in for reinforcements.
Yeah.
So, is everybody? Is your entire force paid?
Yeah.
Okay, so no volunteers involved with your particular.
We've sort of transitioned, and as I was talking with the Honoree that was here before me,
John Foy. Yep.
John Foy. Society's changing, and he was a volunteer back in the day in Lakeshore, and he said that the wives were at home, and one income families, and now everything's changed. So, with society changing and demands on families now, children, 2-income households, there's only so much free time people have to volunteer. So it sort of transitions.
It's forced to transition.
Right.
Yeah, it's forced to transition. So, one of the things that I know that you do, and I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think it's part of your vision to not only continue and maybe expand on these sorts of things, but also make sure the public knows about them, is you do offer a lot of community services, right? You had told me about some of them that I didn't even know, were available. Don't you give classes?
Yeah. And we have CPR classes. We're very try to be very conscious of our role as emergency responders, but we can only control what we do, and looking at improving cardiac arrest outcomes, we've recognized that community CPR or bystander CPR before we arrive is
critical, increases
survivability potential. So we've put a push on CPR classes to educate the public. So once a month, and if the group is large enough, we can arrange other times.
That's great. So if somebody's interested and they've got a decent-sized group, they can call you and they can schedule, and it's free?
Yep. If you're a resident of the district, it's free.
That's great.
If you're not a resident of the district, it's $25. We fall under Red Cross, so we have to get our resources or supplies from them. Cards cost a certain amount of money, and so...
That's fantastic. And are there other sorts of classes like that you offer, or trainings?
We do car seat clinics.
What does that mean?
A car seat clinic, child safety passenger seat, for ensuring that car seats are installed properly.
So that's an issue. People are not putting the car seat in right?
Right. There's probably so many brands out there, and there's different ways, and whether you should have, how it's installed, front facing, rear facing, all that. I'm not a car seat tech, but the program's been around for quite a while, and we actually partner with the rest of the town. We take a Wednesday Everybody takes a Wednesday during the month. And at the fire station or Grease Ambulance, and they host, ours is the fourth Wednesday, where you can come in and get your car seat checked or installed, and we'll talk you through it. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you got to move it from your car to grandma's car, that you're capable to do that.
That's huge. Thank you so much for that. And is that also something that's free to residents of the town of Grease?
Yeah.
And then maybe available for a small fee for people who are outside the town?
Actually, it's free.
Oh, it's free,
right.
Period.
Yeah.
Oh, so that you can't, that's really very wonderful and very generous. I guess you guys are just very serious about wanting to make sure that people don't get in trouble.
We want to make sure that children are safe. That's the important part.
Right. Are there other programs like that you offer? Or that you want to offer?
We are starting to evolve into or evaluate different community outreach programs that we could do. We're more into the schools than we have been. DWI awareness. We're starting to get into elementary schools pretty regular with serving lunches to some of the children.
That's great.
And help out with also partnering with the police officers. They do the same thing.
So what a wonderful range of things and great services. I think it's important that people realize that, and I'm sure this is true of other fire districts as well, but obviously very true of the Ridge Road Fire District, that you guys are making sure that folks have access to good information that helps to prevent the disasters that you're unfortunately often called in to respond to. We are so delighted to be able to honor you, Chief Stephen Mills of the Ridge Road Fire District, getting the First Responder of the Year award at the 34th Annual Community Awards that the Grease Chamber is holding on Thursday, April 25th in the evening at the Marriott Hotel. We are really lucky to have you in the community, and I can see why your entire team, commissioners and all, we're very excited about being able to nominate you, and even more excited to be able to join us to recognize you. Thank you for everything that you do. We really, really appreciate it, and thank you for coming here today on Business Voice.
Thank you.
That just about does it for us here today on Business Voice, a program of the Grease Regional Chamber of Commerce, sponsored by Pet Saver Healthy Pet Superstore. I'm Sarah Lentini. I'm so glad you joined us today. If you have any questions about any of the guests that we had on, or any interest in attending our upcoming 34th Annual Community Awards, please check us out on the web at greasechamber.org, greasechamber.org, or you can always call us at 585-227-7272, and we look forward to catching up with you on the next edition of Business Voice.
You've been listening to Business Voice. The Grease Regional Chamber of Commerce serves businesses, nonprofits, and individuals throughout the region, focusing on promoting economic and community development and serving as the voice for business. The Chamber offers networking, education, advocacy, community events, and business services. It serves as an important platform for business leaders and citizens to come together in support of common goals.